Well, there's no doubt that Zaire Franklin is a special football player, but that's not all Zaire is. He's mature beyond his years. He's a leader on and off the field, and a guy who is an excellent student, driven to make a difference in his community. But where does it all come from? We found out when Zaire invited us down to meet his family in Philadelphia. And Robin DeWind tells the story.
Snap back to Cameron. May actually throw here. Pressure from Welsh up the middle. Cameron rolling left, tops it on him. Zaire Franklin gets a hit and rides him off the field on the far sideline. So that's a sack back at the 38-yard line.
Zaire Franklin makes playing middle linebacker look easy sometimes. But life hasn't always been easy for Zaire and his family. He grew up here in Northwest Philadelphia, raised by his single mother and grandmother in this house.
My mom never really wanted me to want for anything. You know, me and her just was holding it down, just me and her down in North Philly. Then we moved up to Mount Airy, which is, I guess you would consider like Northwest Philadelphia. Living in a house full of women, they teach you a lot. You learn not to voice your opinions as much, you feel me, because you're outnumbered. But we did go through a lot of tough times together, but you know, as far as I knew, I never could want it for anything. And they definitely taught me the value of like really taking pride in the things you do. So I think, you know, my North Philly upbringing definitely brought me where I am today.
As great as an athlete as Zaire is, there was never any confusion over what his top priority needed to be.
They didn't play no games. Like they wouldn't care. My first report card wasn't that pretty, and they were just like, look, I don't care. Like, you will stop playing tomorrow. Like, I don't care how good you think you are. Like, you was not playing. Them putting that much pressure on me to perform in high school definitely made it a lot easier transition now that I'm on my own now in college.
By his junior year at LaSalle College High School, Zaire was being recruited by D1 schools. He was on top of the world. Then it all changed. His mother, Shalise, who had been battling brain tumors for years, died.
Come back, you're just like living a high life, you feel me? Like everything's going well. Then a week after my mom's birthday, she had to go in the hospital. The next thing you know, like a couple of days later, like, yo, like your mom's doing really bad, you know, and then next thing you know, she didn't end up making it out.
A teenager losing his mother is difficult enough. Then the unthinkable. Just 2 months later, his grandmother passed away. It's hard to imagine the loss Zaire felt, but he also knew he had to keep going for them.
Those two women like are the reason why I'm even here today, why I could look at you guys and say I've accomplished things I've accomplished so far and the things I will do in the future. So, you know, those two women definitely are like everything about me, and I miss them every day.
With the women who raised him gone, Zaire's family rallied around him. His aunt and uncle, Marla and Oliver Burke, moved their family into Zaire's home and became his guardians.
Zaire couldn't have been no more my child than if he was my child. He's my sister's son. That's my son.
It wasn't a problem for us to come and be Zaire family, because that's, you know, that's what family do.
In my family, we were raised, you take care of your own.
And that's exactly what they did. They cared for Zaire, surrounded him with love, and Zaire helped himself too.
It was hard. I was missing school. I was missing like school like weeks at a time, you know, just trying to get my mind right so I could just go through the daily grind of school. But you know, my team at LaSalle High School, they definitely like embraced me. That whole LaSalle community definitely just wrapped their arms around me, just definitely had my back.
Everyone was worried about him.
Everyone, including Eric Taylor. He coached Zaire from the time he began youth football. Taylor always had a connection with Zaire, and as his assistant coach in high school, that connection grew. Zaire looked up to Taylor, and Eric liked being there for Zaire.
It's the closest thing I have to a son. He listens. He just gets it, and he just wants more out of. He loves football, but he just wants more out of life.
The two became even closer during Zaire's senior year at LaSalle, when they spent countless hours on the road together, driving back and forth on recruiting trips to different colleges.
To hear a kid at his age talk about what he wants and not just being about football, but he's really interested in being a quality person. Whatever the dream was that his mother and grandmother had for him, he really strives hard to achieve that.
Recently, we were there with the two men when they went back to where it all began, the youth football fields in Zaire's neighborhood, where Taylor coached and Zaire learned to love the game.
As soon as you come through the gate, take your lap. As soon as you come, and if you're late, take two.
It was just a given, you already knew. So you're going through all that, you just learn just to fight through stuff, you know what I mean? Just like you said, just build your mental toughness from a young age.
Guys, we stress it, be good kids. And for the most part, I would say we had a great group of kids.
Yeah,
and
always.
Honestly, I still to this day have kids from those teams call me. For the most part, they didn't get in trouble.
It was on those fields that Zaire worked to become the player and the person he is today. It's also the site of one of his fondest memories of his mother and a championship game.
The Mount Airy Bantams and the Oakland Wildcats, it's like Houston, West Virginia. It's like Ohio State, Michigan. It's like you don't wear no red on my field. Don't wear. That's probably one of the best games I've ever played in. Like as a sixth grade, it was like back and forth. You had to stop them on an extra point with like time expiring. It was special to me because, like I said, my mom. That's when I was in fifth grade. My mom. That's when she first got diagnosed with brain tumor. Wasn't sure if she was gonna be able to make the championship game. It was like a little bit more motivation because I know if I played longer, she'd be able to go. She was sitting in her chair, she was cheering, she was going crazy. I went over, gave her a hug, told her I love her. Like, that was a crazy game.
But I remember she called me and she was like, I made it back just in time to see my baby win. My baby won. You should have seen him, girl. He did this, he did that. And she was just going on and telling me all about the game.
And those are the memories that Zaire hangs on to. Memories that shape his future.
A part of me just sat down and really looked inside of me and think about what I want out of life and like what would my parents want for me. And it was really just like I wanted to be better for them. You know, I know we struggled a lot, and though they never let me like face that reality, I knew we were in it. So for me, something that made me just want to succeed, want me to be successful was just wanting better, not only for myself, for my parents, because I know that's what they want from me, and for the people to come after me. I think that's just something that definitely drives me to work hard on the field and in the classroom.